Hello friends. So since few years, service tax is issuing show cause as to why differential income should not be treated as service tax evaded to those who have shown higher services income in their ITR versus in service tax returns. Hence, they are proposing around 14.95% service tax on differential amount. Say supposing in 15-16 the rate of service tax was around 15% with surcharge etc. In case if you've received such a notice, ideally you must explain as to why you showed higher amount in your ITR. In that show cause, you have to just explain to the service tax officer. Now it's been 10 years at least, so you may not be remembering why you showed higher income in income tax return. So what will happen is that you'll have to find out a way as to why you showed higher income. Maybe it's because of some estimation which your income tax consultant must have estimated, or he must have just added the bank deposits and just come up with an estimated income which is roughly the similar or almost the same, little bit higher than your service tax return income. Now whatever be the case, ideally you should find why you showed a higher figure in ITR. Now the department is comparing this ITR or your 26AS with your service tax return. Now this is a good way for the department to find out if there are people who have tried to show less in service tax return. But it's not a conclusive and it can't be a benchmark. The income tax return can't be a benchmark. Now there is a unreported judgment which I have stated here in Pappu Crane Service versus Commissioner Service Tax Appeal 70707. I have stated in my description. Now here what it says that this is in the SSE's favor, wherein the tribunal, while allowing the appeal, has rejected the invocation of the extended period where the revenues case was solely based on the figures in Form 26 years. So once they can't reopen beyond 4 years, service tax old years can't be now touched. So what we have to claim is that we didn't do it intentionally or with fraudulent intention. The difference is just incidental between income tax return and service tax return. So because it's not a fraud or bad intention by the SSE, they cannot go beyond certain years. So generally these cases are of 15-16 accounting year and beyond and before. So therefore today in 25-26 they cannot open such cases. So this is one case law which might help in your case. Secondly, you have to just counter the facts which are stated in the order of the base ITO, rather I would say STO. That there may be some wrong interpretation stated by the officer, or the facts may be wrong. Now, what are the chances? Broadly, if you have stated higher income in the income tax return, it won't be easy to counter, but you can at the most save the penalty, because these are revenue authorities, these appellate authorities, so it won't be so easy unless you are really convincing as to why you showed higher figure as services income in your ITR versus your service tax return where you showed lower. Anyways, coming to the service tax appeal, wherein you ideally should counter the service tax order in the against the service order, you should go in appeal. What you need to do, you need to of course first study your service tax return. You need to go to this portal and you need to log in, and this login you can get the login information. You might have forgotten because service tax is over since 2016 or 17. You can log in to the portal. Now if you cannot find your service tax login, you have to go to your service tax officer depending on your range and division, and a simple request letter to reset the password. They will give you the service tax login details. It will be emailed to your current email ID. Now supposing what will happen, now what will happen, now obviously I'm talking, okay, now coming back to this show cause, that if you lose in the show cause, okay, then service tax officer will give you a good order. It's called self-explanatory order, wherein you can appeal to the higher authority, which we are now doing, the service tax appeal we are doing. Now before filing the appeal, now we start the appeal process. Before filing the appeal, you need to pay 7.5% of the tax demanded, not of the interest and penalty, only of the tax. Okay, you have to pay this via AC's website. AC's website, the challan will be generated, and then on IceGate you need to pay the challan. IceGate excise payment, you need to pay the challan. Okay, because the AC's website payment is not working correctly. Now you need to make a now when you go to the commissioner of appeal, you need to make a paperwork with the index and all your evidences and give two files to the commissioner of appeal. One he will give to the service tax officer against whose order you have gone against. Now you'll also need, while in going in this appeal, you'll need 25 rupees ka court fee stamp, 4 of them. One each you have to stick on the ST04 service tax return, service tax application, appeal form is called ST04, and the second court fee stamp will be on the base order. Okay, so because there are two files, so there will be 4 court fee stamps which are generally required. Now, what is this ST04? ST04 is, I have made it out here. ST04 is simple form, appeal form. Here you just have to write the details of the order. This number you can leave it blank. Now here you have to write the service tax, the appellant name and the range of the I officer, and when you received it, which year it is for. Now address to which the notice is the current address. Now on the service tax demanded in that appeal, and of course the current interest, you just write appropriate interest. The penalty, whatever 20,000 generally would be, whatever the penalty may be, it's written in the order. The value of taxable service for the period mentioned. Now here what you feel is the service tax value of taxable service for the period mentioned. Whatever you have stated in the return, you can write down here. Okay, and of course tax what you have paid, you can just write. And whether you wish to be heard in person, generally it's better to write yes and go to the appeal in person. What we generally after so many years would want is that they accept our service tax return and don't benchmark it on income tax return. The facts should be depending on each of your case. Ideally, it should be why you showed higher in income tax return as services income. That's it. No need of notary or anything on this. And you need to write the CA's detail, other consultants if there is any, and the appellant will sign it. This is ST04. It's kind of an appeal form. Second is, of course, you need an authority letter in favor of your consultant. This is simple authority letter. The format is here. I authorize for the above matter. It is to the service tax appeal. Okay. That's it. So index looks like this with page number and all you have to write down. Now what is this? First is ST04 form which I just showed you. Now condonation of delay. If there is any delay, generally 2 months are allowed, and plus 1 month is also allowed. So around 3 months is allowed. But better to do within 2 months from the date of the order. Why you basically simple affidavit kind of a delay letter wherein why you got delayed by beyond 2 months from the date of order. Okay, then you need this 7.5% challan. Okay, paid challan. You need the CA's attested or some advocate's attested order. Then you need the show cause, whichever is what issued to you while the hearing was going on in the base order. The grounds of appeal, whatever the ground may be. Now let's say in this case my ground was the bank statements I had to total, and so like that I've enclosed all the these are the other documents, the 5 documents I had enclosed. So whatever be your case, you have to, depending on your case, you have to enclose. My case was that I added the bank statement income deposits, and that's why my CA actually just estimated the income approximate to a service tax return, but it was little higher by about 3-4 lakhs. Now then also you can write down one important thing, that demand is time barred. As I told you that there was no fraud, so you have to prove that there was no fraud. So this whole show cause and this whole service tax matter which they are coming up with since last 1 year is, or rather since last 2-3 years, is going to be time barred because there was no fraud. This is what you have to prove. Okay. Now there is authority letter in favor of the CA, whoever your CA is, and the appellant's email ID and your authorized person's email ID and address. This is required. Okay, so this is about it. Your appeal process, once you file it manually, within 2 months you will get the appeal hearing. And generally what happens with the appeal, you will get the order depending on the facts. Anyways, thanks.